Welcome to the 67th Annual Writers Guild Awards. The Writers Guild of America East wants to remind you there is no tweeting or texting of tonight's results during the ceremony. In other words, what happens in the Edison Ballroom stays in the Edison Ballroom. Your for this evening co-created the PJs, created the Bernie Mac Show, was a consulting producer for The Office, and the senior black correspondent for The Daily Show. He is an executive producer on the ABC sitcom Blackish, and the host of Comedy Central's The Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore. Please welcome Larry Wilmore.
Everybody's eating and drinking. I love it. Well, thank you. This is so exciting. Welcome to the, I know, 67th Annual Writers Guild Awards, or as I like to call it, the thing I said yes to before I got my own TV show. That's how they get you, right? No, it's so nice to be here, because tonight we honor the great creators of fiction. You know, like Wes Anderson, Gillian Flynn, Brian Williams, right? I had to get that one in. Right? Is he here tonight? Why are you booing? Right. You know, to be honest, I'm surprised they even scheduled the awards for today. I mean, what were the odds a bunch of writers would be free on Valentine's Day? Oh, and I have to say this, tonight's show is brought to you by the makers of Final Draft. Okay, it's, yes, Final Draft, state-of-the-art software that scriptwriters use to make their work look like it came out of a manual typewriter in 1945. Well done, Final Draft, well done. Okay, so before we start, you guys all know, there's been a big announcement about a change of the guard in the comedy world that I just want to address up front, you know, because people keep asking me about it, so let me just get this out of the way, okay? I am all for an all-female Ghostbusters, all right? I don't know why the busting of ghosts should be relegated to just men, okay? Am I concerned that there are no men? Maybe just a little bit. You know, I wasn't here when you guys had that whole ghost outbreak thing in the 80s, okay? So maybe it's not fair for me to say what you really need, right? But, you know, maybe 3 women and 1 man. Maybe the guy's waiting out in the car. I'm just saying, look, I have nothing against 4 women Ghostbusters. I think they'll be fine. But I am concerned, however, that no matter how many times we put that Ghostbuster puzzle together, we keep ending up with only 1 black Ghostbuster. We can't get 2. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for brothers to be out there busting ghosts. That's not what I'm saying, guys. All I'm saying is the corralling of apparitions is not a very common brother activity. I put it in the same non-brother activity as ice road trucking, deadly as catching, busting of ghosts. It's all the same. Personally, I'm not afraid of ghosts. I don't want any motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane, but ghosts I can deal with. I think that clears everything up, right? And I'll be taking over the Daily Show. Okay. It's just a show. No, there have been so many great movies this year. Wes Anderson and his writing partner, Hugo Guinness, are nominated for the Grand Budapest Hotel. I love that movie. Oh, man. I really hope they win. I've never seen an acceptance speech delivered by steam-powered gramophone. It's gonna be fun. I thought Grand Budapest was really powerful. Finally, I thought, Hollywood is telling stories about bespectacled accordion unicyclers who can only read Futura. Hey, a plot, that's a font joke, motherfuckers, come on. That's a true writer's joke. Also nominated is The Imitation Game. Great movie. Which is confusing for me because that's what I call my one-man show about James Mason and Lando Calrissian getting stuck in an elevator. Thank you. How are we going to get out of this elevator, Lando Calrissian? They told me they fixed it. I trusted them to fix it. It's not my fault. Thank you very much. Lando Calrissian. TV shows are really strong this year as well, too. Congratulations to the writers of Mad Men. Good, Mad Men fan. Just FYI, if Matthew Weiner wins, he's going to do half of his acceptance speech now, and then the second half in the spring of 2017, so just a heads up. And with us tonight are the two stars of the hit Cinemax drama, The Knick. Clive Owen, Andre Haller, The Knick, yeah. You guys, if you don't know, the Brooklyn-based show's about a New York hospital in the early 1900s. It's funny, it's the only New York Knick anyone wants to actually watch nowadays, right? Laker fan. Okay, I realize this is a group of writers, guys. The Knicks are a basketball team, okay? Remember the guys who shoved you in the lockers during high school? They're probably playing basketball at the time. Now, of course, the TV show I'm most excited about, the one I'm sure we'll all be talking about next year at this time, is NBC's The Slap, right? Do you work at The Slap? Okay, that is the best title ever, right? It tells you what it's about right away. I mean, I'm pumped, but you have to wonder, what is 7th season of The Slap going to look like, right? Oh my God, the slapper has struck again. This time he slapped an old lady. What? Oh, they can make it into a movie, American Slapper. 160 confirmed slaps? Get the fuck out of here. I call that a hero, okay? No, it's controversial. That's how I feel. Now, I joked about hosting earlier, but I really am glad that I'm here because most people, they have such a horrible view of writers. It's true. You know what? I think they just don't understand what we do, right? I mean, I love Game of Thrones, but I keep reading how everyone's all worried about what happens when the show catches up to the books. Have you heard? I mean, think about how shitty that makes the writing staff of that show feel, right? There are literally dozens of articles stressing about what happens if those writers have to start, writing. What are we gonna do? That's how people think about writing, which is great that we're being honored tonight, right? We gotta do it ourselves, that's okay. All right, okay, let's get ready to start this. Oh, and just a word of caution before we start. If you guys are up here and you're receiving your award and out of the corner of your eye you see a black man approaching you rapidly, don't worry, it's Kanye, okay? Don't worry, just make yourself as large as you can. Yeah. Don't show any fear. Just look him in the eye and say, George Bush hates black people. Something like that, Beyonce lyric, he'll be fine. Well, thanks a lot. You guys ready to start the show? Okay, let's get it started. Let's announce our first presenter. Nancy?
His career began with a self-imposed 30-day sentence at the Golden Arches. Now he's rich enough to be able to eat at Wendy's. Please welcome renowned documentary filmmaker Morgan Spurlock.
Thank you. The movies that are nominated in documentary script current events deal with the Iraq War and our loss of privacy. I know that the nominees are excited about their nominations because I read the transcripts of their phone conversations about it that the NSA sent me. It's true. The nominees for documentary script current events are Losing Iraq, Frontline, written by Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, PBS. You should clap for these guys. It's good. These guys don't get attention. You should clap for them. United States of Secrets, Privacy Lost Part 2, Frontline, written by Martin Smith, PBS. United States of Secrets, The Program, Part 1, Frontline, PBS, written by Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, PBS. And the award goes to Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, The United States of Secrets, The Program, Part 1, Frontline.
Thank you very much. Michael Kirk was waylaid by the weather in Boston, but he wanted me to thank you all for this award. We also wanted to thank our spouses on Valentine's Day, Callie and Natasha, and David Fanning and Rainey Aronson and everybody at Frontline who makes what we do possible and gives us the time and the resources to make films like this. We also wanted to thank everybody at the Kirk Documentary Group who made the film possible, and to Marty and Marcella and everybody at Rain Media who worked on this and on other films with us as collaborators. We were up against them tonight, but we take on the big topics in conjunction with them. And thank you to WGBH, PBS, and to the Writers Guild, who stands up for what we do and makes what we do possible. Thank you.
The scripts nominated in episodic drama are all examples of great writing that kept viewers deeply engaged over the course of several weeks, or more likely in this day and age, caused them to lose sleep because they binge-watched all 13 episodes in a single evening. That's me. The nominees for episodic drama are A Day's Work, Mad Men, written by Jonathan Igla and Matthew Weiner. Devil You Know, Boardwalk Empire, written by Howard Corder, HBO. Donald the Normal, Rectify, written by Kate Powers and Ray McKinnon, Sundance Channel. Friendless Child, Boardwalk Empire, written by Ricardo Di Loreto, Christine Chambers, and Howard Corder, HBO. The Last Call, The Good Wife, written by Robert King and Michelle King, CBS. And our final nominee, The Lion and the Rose, Game of Thrones, written for television by George R.R. Martin, HBO. And the award goes to Robert King and Michelle King, The Last Call, The Good Wife. The Kings are accepting in Los Angeles, so congratulations to the Kings. Thank you guys, have a great night.
She's a writer and comedian whose acclaimed podcasts ask the eternal question, how was your week? Please welcome the co-star and co-creator of Hulu's upcoming Difficult People, Julie Klausner.
I'm honored to present the category of TV news script, regularly scheduled bulletin, or breaking report. Something, something, Brian Williams, something, something, Jon Stewart. And the nominees are 50th anniversary of JFK's assassination, CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley, written by Jerry Cipriano, Joe Klein, CBS News. Woo, indeed. CBS This Morning Saturday, written by Bill Crowley, Evan Gray, Dwayne Tollison, Chip Sorrentino, CBS News. Nelson Mandela, A Man Who Changed the World, World News with Diane Sawyer, written by Dave Block, Lisa Ferry, Diane Sawyer, ABC News, and the award goes to, Dave Block, Lisa Ferry, Diane Sawyer. Mandela, A Man Who Changed the World. World News with Diane Sawyer.
For those of us in newsrooms, this has been a stranger than fiction, send in the locusts, the apocalypse is upon us kind of week. For those of you who write screenplays, I defy you to write something as dramatic. And for those of you who write fake news, you're welcome. We just gave you enough material to last you a year. A note about fake news. First of all, John Oliver for President 2016. Second of all, I want to thank the people who are writing the fake news for challenging us to be better and calling us on our crap. Because when we get it right, news still matters, and news still has the power to change people's lives. Case in point, Diane Sawyer. She couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted me to tell you how grateful she is for this award and this honor, as am I, as is Dave. And I'm also grateful that my mom and dad are back there. Hi, Mom and Dad. And thank you to the Guild. Thanks.
In the category of TV news script analysis, feature or commentary, there is only one nominee, and they win. Please wait until I have finished reading the nominee. The winner of TV news script analysis, feature, or commentary is Nowhere to Go, 60 Minutes, written by Oriana Zil de Granados. So let me do that again. Oriana Zil de Granados, Scott Pelley, Michael Ray, CBS.
You slept too long in silence, Mama said.
I just wanted to thank Jeff Fager and Bill Owens, the leaders of our show, who make everything we do possible. And we really couldn't do this kind of reporting. Many of you probably haven't seen the piece, but it was about young, mentally ill men who can't get care. And we want to thank the people who actually go on camera to make our stories possible. So, State Senator, thank you. State Senator Cree Deeds made this story possible, and we really want to thank him. But we also want, just today, to thank another writer, Bob Simon, who unfortunately he can't be with us tonight or any other night, but he's looking at us from above. Thank you so much.
Give him 22 minutes, and he'll give you an award presentation and 15 minutes change. Please welcome last year's winner of the Richard B. Jablow Award for Service to the Guild, and a nominee tonight from 1010 Wins Radio, Phil Pilato.
But you got to serve somebody. Hey, you gotta serve somebody.
Thank you. One was a trailblazing lawyer, the other a firebrand of a writer. One helped found the Writers Guild of America East. The other co-wrote Bulworth, the film that gave us this memorable line. All we need is a voluntary, free-spirited, open-ended program of procreative racial deconstruction. Everybody just got to keep fucking everybody till they're all the same color. Jeremy Pikser has been nominated for an Oscar, a Golden Globe, and a Writers Guild Award. But tonight, we're honoring him with the Richard B. Jablow Award for the work he's done on behalf of the Writers Guild East and his fellow members. Richard Jablow, whom the award was named for, was the Guild's first counsel. He fought to get writers the pay and the residuals they deserved. Jeremy Pikser has been fighting that same fight since he joined the Guild in 1988. Today, I sit on the council with him, where he now serves as our vice president. Jeremy always goes the extra mile for his fellow writers. He continuously works to strengthen the position of our long-term members while building up our ranks with his efforts organizing writers who work in digital, nonfiction, and independent film, so they too can become Guild members. He's traveled all over the world to speak out on behalf of the Guild. Not only has Jeremy fought for writers, but he shows concern for all oppressed workers, and sometimes he even thinks like one, which once almost caused a revolt by the crew on the set of the movie Reds. You see, Jeremy pointed out to Warren Beatty that if the Russian troops had all owned brand new shiny boots like the ones the film's extras were wearing, there probably would never have been a Russian Revolution. So Warren yelled at the film's costumer, and soon the entire wardrobe department was down on their hands and knees, muddying and scraping up the boots of 400 extras. Jeremy truly understands the worker and the writer. He is the voice of reason in the revolution that the Writers Guild and the industry needs these days. In short, Jeremy is the perfect choice for this year's Jablow Award for dedicated service to the Guild. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Pikser.
Thank you, Phil, for those grossly exaggerated comments of praise. How do I deal with this thing? Okay. One shade of gray. 10 years ago, my friend, my hero, my inspiration, Walter Bernstein said to me, "Why don't you run for Writers Guild Council? We could use you." So I asked him, "Well, what would I have to do?" He said, "You have to come to a meeting once a month." I said, "That's it?" He said, "Yeah, and they give you dinner." I said, "Okay." So I ran, and I lost. And I ran again, and I lost. He kept nagging, I kept running. Eventually, I got on the council. I still had no idea what I was supposed to do, except to come to meetings and eat dinner. But never one to keep my mouth shut, I took part in the discussions. And to my amazement, people seemed to think I made occasional sense. And always on the lookout for something I could be good at, I began to feel like I should try to be, as the award says, of service to the Guild. So I looked for a committee to join. They had one that had sort of a science fiction sounding name. It was called the Future Members Committee. I found out that that was the organizing committee. And where I come from, organizing is sort of about the best thing you could do. So I scheduled a lunch with 2 members of the organizing department of the Writers Guild, Justin Melito and Ursula Lawrence. It was love at first lunch. These young people, or at least young compared to me, were so smart, so committed, so skilled, and with what I could hardly believe in an organization connected to the entertainment industry, such devotion to changing the world for the better. I wanted to be part of whatever they were doing. And what the organizing department has been doing is fighting like hell to try and give writers a decent place in the uncertain and hostile future of writing for screens large and small. The extremely difficult Herculean, it's really the Herculean task of organizing writers of so-called reality television who work 60, 70 hours a week for crappy pay, no benefits, no vacation, no sick time, and often, I kid you not, dangerously unsafe conditions is not only a matter of principle, but also of pragmatism, because the parasites who employ them and subject them to this crap are undermining and eroding not just the dignity, but the livelihoods of all writers. And on another front, we're trying to find a way to make writing independent films in a world of ultra-low budgets and internet distribution something that can actually sustain a decent way of life. If I have been of service to the Guild, it has been by doing whatever I can to help these tireless organizers and the courageous writers trying to civilize these outlying areas of writing, and by eating dinner. So thanks to Lowell Peterson, Ruth Gallo, Marcia Seaman, the whole Guild staff, and other members of the council, and my comrade officers, Michael Winship and Bob Schneider, who have supported me from the beginning. I am truly honored.
You've seen our next presenter in The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, House of Cards, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, and The 4400. Please welcome the man who appeals to the everyone in the entire world demographic, Mahershala Ali.
If you combine the nominees for comedy series into one show, you'd have a man trapped in a woman's body, a man trapped in a man's body, programmers trapped in programmers' bodies, women's prisoners trapped in orange, and a Veep trapped by the former drama critic of the New York Times. I'd call it Transparent Silicone Orange is the new Louis C.K. Dreyfus show. The nominees for comedy series are Louis, written by Pamela Adlon, Louis C.K. FX. Orange is the New Black, written by Stephen Falk, Sean Hayter, Tara Herman, Sarah Hess, Nick Jones, Gingy Cohen, Lauren Morelli, Alex Regnery, Hartley Voss, Netflix. Silicon Valley, written by John Altschuler, Alec Berg, Matteo Borghese, Jessica Gao, Mike Judge, Dave Krinsky, Carson Mail, Dan O'Keefe, Clay Tarver, Rob Tabofsky, Ron Weiner, HBO. Transparent, written by Bridget Bedard, Micah Fitzerman Blue, Noah Harpster, Ethan Cooperberg, Ali Libugat, Faith Soloway, Jill Soloway, Amazon Prime. And Veep, written by Simon Blackwell, Kevin Cecil, Roger Drew, Sean Gray, Armando Iannucci, Ian Martin, Georgia Pritchett, David Quantick, Andy Riley, Tony Roach, Will Smith, HBO. And the award goes to Pamela Adlin, Louis C.K., Louis. Louis C.K. is not attending the awards. Congratulations to Louis. I'm accepting on his behalf. He might not get it either. Next is short form new media original. The only category that takes longer to read than it does to watch one of the actual works. In short form, the budgets are low, but the creativity, like the people in some of the videos, is extremely high. The nominees for short form new media original are Apocalypse No, Bad Shorts, written by Ben Zelavansky. City of Angels, Caper, written by Amy Berg, Mike Sizemore. Episode 1, Nurture, F to 7th, written by Ingrid Youngerman. Episode 113, Rachel, High Maintenance, written by Katya Blickfield and Ben Sinclair. Episode 204, Vicky and Lysander, written by Damon Cardassis and Shannon Walker. Episode 207, written by Damon Cardassis and Shannon Walker. And the award goes to Katya Blickfeld and Ben Sinclair, episode 113, Rachel, High Maintenance. Accepting for Katya and Ben is Michael Cecil Creighton.
Hey, I'm Michael Cyril Creighton. I had the honor of working with Ben and Katya on an earlier episode called Helen. They're in LA, so they wrote me something to read just in case. It's in first person, so just imagine I'm a beautifully hip couple from Ditmas Park. Okay, High Maintenance was created to make use of space around us that was occupied by talented artists with great apartments who let us shoot in them on the weekends for no money. When Katya and I are old and senile and telling each other to fuck off all the time, we will look back at the time spent with these artists as the best days of our lives. We'd like to thank Dan Stevens for trusting us and offering us his gift, for Susie Stevens for chuckling when we first asked him to wear Rachel Comey, and Rachel Comey for pursuing us and dressing Katya and making this episode très chic. We are forever indebted to our talented crew and cast, to our parents Bill, Raina, Anita, and Torben, who have raised us to become courteous people who provide food when small groups assemble. And the rest of our family and friends who have provided us with the kernels of inspiration to tell the stories that have become like children to us. The cross-dressing community and any other fringe community that has been underrepresented and misrepresented in storytelling. We need to thank Vimeo, the platform that got us out there, Emi Irawaka, the unsung hero of High Maintenance, Gregory McKnight, our agent daddy, Mackenzie Condon, our cool agent cousin, both at CAA, our lawyer Kim Jamie, who has protected us with her Kim skin time and time again, And the greatest thank you of all to Russell Gregory, our manager, executive producer, best friend, and honestly the third person in our marriage. We love you, Boo. Thank you, WGA, and all our fellow writers. It's truly an honor. Ben and Katya. Thanks a lot.
This is dramatic. I have no idea. Having fun? Yeah, get a little food. You know, one of the best parts of being in the Writers Guild is that is when you get the screeners of all the great movies every award season. It's one of my favorite things about being a writer. So I thought I'd just take a minute. We have just a little bit of a break just to review some of the screeners this year. Okay, just got a minute. Okay. Imitation Game. All right, this one's kind of plain. A lot of white. You know, a little bit of red. Not sure if I like that font. It's kind of nondescript, I guess. Okay, not a lot going on the inside. Just feels a little. I mean, I'm not sure what it's imitating, but it doesn't seem like a game I want to play. All right. Okay, Gone Girl. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. Looks like an invitation or something, right? Very inviting. Look at that. Well done, Gone Girl. Look at this. Oh, the DVD comes out very easy. I like that. You know, when you're real tired, you just want to throw it in. That's good. Not, feels like a child's pop-up book, right? That kind of thing. Be nice if the girl had popped up, but no, apparently she's still gone. Okay, well done. You know, I'm not sure about the silver and black. It feels a little Oakland Raiders-y, but good job, Gone Girl, good job. All right, Inherent Vice. All right, now, my first question is this John Lennon? I'm like a huge Beatles fan. I thought, was this a bootleg that I missed? I wasn't sure. I like the colors. Well, the picture's nice. I kind of like, there's a lot of nice color scheme here. That's kind of nice. See, I didn't open this one. It's hard to open. I'm not a fan of this seal. This is inherently hard to open. Inherent Vice. Okay, you know, in my review of Inherent Vice, you don't want a brother to watch your movie, apparently, okay? That's my review. Oh, get on up. There you go. All right. You know what? Calm down with the all caps, get on up. What are you, screaming at me or something? Look at this. I get it. You're a black movie. You're loud. I get it. Yeah. This is nice. I like the color. See, that's easy. See Inherent Vice? See how easy it is? Very good. Not bad at all. Yeah, that's pretty good. I like the color of that one. Oh, Foxcatcher. A plain white envelope, you know. I mean, this is like as creepy as the movie was to me, you know. I thought somebody just dropped off their mixtape when I got this. I didn't know what was going on. Look at this. Still Alice. Whiplash. I mean, seriously, what the fuck, guys? Try a little harder, right? They didn't even try. Where are these from? Oh, Sony, of course, right? Sorry. You know, Sony, maybe if you spent less time sending emails about black movies the black president should be watching, you'd have more time to work on your screeners, all right? All right, that's my review of the screeners. Some are good, some are bad. And let's throw it to the faceless announcer.
Please welcome Michael K. Williams.
Good evening. This year's nominees for new series cover everything from a hospital in the early 1900s to a modern-day startup in Silicon Valley, two traditionally masculine detectives, and a father transitioning to be a mopper. There's even one extramarital affair told by two distinct perspectives, although they clearly are both on Showtime. From funny to scary to heartbreaking, sometimes all in the same episode. The nominees for Best New Series are The Affair, written by Dan LaFranc, Hy Levy, Melanie Marnich, Eric Overmeyer, Kate Robin, and Sarah Treem for Showtime. The Knick, written by Jack Emile, Mike Begler, Stephen Katz, for Cinemax. Silicon Valley, written by John Alsher, Alec Berg, Matteo Borghese, Jessica Gao, Mike Judge, Dave Krinsky, Carson Mell, Dan O'Keefe, Clay Tarver, and Rob Tabowski, and Rob Weiner for HBO. Transparent, written by Bridget Bernard, Micah Fitzerman Blue, Noah Hobster, Ethan Kupperberg, Ali Libugat, Faith Soloway, and Jill Soloway for Amazon Prime. True Detective, written by Nick Palazzato for HBO. And the award goes to, drum roll please. And the award goes to Nick Palazzato, True Detective. Nick will be accepting his award in Los Angeles. Thank you. Our next award is the Best Writing for Comedy, Variety, Music Awards Tribute Specials. Okay. This category includes stand-up specials and award shows. The Writers Guild Awards are not nominated because we're not televised, and wouldn't you know, we're not Guild covered. The nominees for Best Writing for Comedy, Variety, Music Awards Tribute Specials are the 68th Annual Tony Awards, written by Dan Boone, special material by John Max, CBS. The 71st Annual Golden Globe Awards, written by Barry Adelman. Special material by Alex Bays, Dave Boone, Robert Carlock, Tina Fey, John Max, Sam Means, Seth Meyers, Amy Poehler, Mike Shoemaker for NBC. The 2014 Film Independent Spirit Awards, written by Jerry Dugman, Wayne Fetterman, Peyton Oswalt, Eric Weiner for IFC. Bill Maher, Live from DC, written by Bill Maher, HBO. Sarah Silverman, We Are Miracles, written by Sarah Silverman for HBO. And the award goes to, I bet you wouldn't guess in 1,000 years, people. Not in 1,000 years. The Writers Guild of the 71st Annual Golden Globe Awards 2014.
Thank you so much. I'm the only one here, so I did it. I do just want to say Tina and Amy are the two funniest people on the planet, and it's such an honor and a privilege to get to write for them. So thank you very much. But this is very nice, too. So thank you.
He's the only writer tonight whose credo has gone from all the news that's fit to print to it's not TV, it's HBO. Please welcome former New York Times critic and a current executive producer of Veep, Frank Rich.
As everyone here knows, dying is easy, comedy is hard. To which I would add, all writing is hard, and with adaptation, you can take your life in your hands. To adapt a beloved work from another medium, you must not just meet your own medium's requirements, but the expectations of the original work's fans who, no matter how good you are predisposed to accuse you of defacing a masterpiece. Indeed, speaking as someone who has known Larry Kramer for many years, I can fully picture Larry being the first one to criticize his own television adaptation of his own play. It's a monologue someone here should write. Tonight's long-form adapted nominees are not only excellent TV-ready interpretations of their original sources, but they are exciting, vital, and important works in their own right. The nominees for long-form adapted are Houdini, written by Nicholas Meyer, based on the book Houdini, A Mind in Chains, a psychoanalytic portrait by Bernard C. Meyer, MD, History Channel. Klondike, parts 1, 3, and 6, teleplay by Paul Scheuring, parts 2, 4, and 5, teleplay by Josh Golden and Rachel Abramowitz, based on the book Gold Diggers by Charlotte Gray, Discovery Channel. The Normal Heart, teleplay by Larry Kramer, based on his play, The Normal Heart, HBO. Olive Kitteridge, teleplay by Jane Anderson, based on the novel by Elizabeth Strout, HBO. Pilot, The Leftovers, by Damon Lindelof and Tom Perrotta, based on the novel by Tom Perrotta, HBO. And the award goes to Jane Anderson. Accepting for Jane Anderson is Elizabeth Strout.
I'm not Jane Anderson, and I'm here to accept this on her behalf, and I'm just thrilled for her because it's such an extraordinary thing to have seen my book translated into a film that captured, I think, the integrity of the work, and it was just, I think she did a wonderful, wonderful job, as did the cast that worked with her. So thank you so much, or from her to you.
Tonight's adapted screenplays are some of the biggest, most thought-provoking, and in the case of Guardians of the Galaxy, most raccoon-employing movies of 2014. Through retellings of one woman's 1,000-mile journey, a codebreaker's attempt to stop the Nazis, a sniper's war with the enemy and himself, the mysterious fracturing of a marriage, and superheroes who save the galaxy, tonight's adapted screenplay writers found more than a movie and a book. They found the universal in the particular, not to mention plenty of work for Bradley Cooper with and without raccoons. The nominees for adapted screenplay are American Sniper, written by Jason Hall, based on the book by Chris Kyle with Scott McEwen and Jim DeFelice, Warner Brothers. Gone Girl, screenplay by Gillian Flynn, based on her novel. 20th Century Fox. Guardians of the Galaxy, written by James Gunn and Nicole Perlman, based on the Marvel comic by Dan Abnett and Andy Lanning, Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. The Imitation Game, written by Graham Moore, based on the book Alan Turing, The Enigma, by Andrew Hodges, The Weinstein Company. Wild, screenplay by Nick Hornby, based on the book by Cheryl Strayed, Fox Searchlight. And the award goes to Graham Moore, The Imitation Game. Congratulations to Graham Moore, who is not with us tonight. Thank you.
With an Emmy and multiple WGA awards on his shelf, this man puts the win in Winship. Please welcome the president of the Writers Guild of America East, Michael Winship.
Thank you. I always feel like the guy from Price Waterhouse up here, but thank you. Happy Valentine's Day and welcome to Ice Station Zebra. I want to thank Larry Wilmore for being our host and congratulate him on the success of the nightly show. I especially want to thank the executive producer of tonight's event, John Marshall, the chair of our awards committee, Bonnie Datt, the writers of tonight's show, the many other volunteers who are working so hard here tonight, and a big thank you to the Writers Guild East staff, especially with the awards Marcia Seaman, Dana Weisman, and Nancy Halfling. Tonight, among our other award nominees and recipients, we're honoring the 1/3 of our membership who work in television and radio news. As others have mentioned tonight, we do so at a time of turbulence and tragedy in the world of news. When reporters, nearly 200 of them, sit in prison, when 16 journalists have been killed on duty just since 2015 began, that's one a week. When political satirists die in Paris, and just today a murder attempt against Danish cartoonist Lars Vilk left 1 dead and 3 wounded. I tell you all this not as my moment of tragic relief, but to remind you of how hard our news members work and the risks that many of them take. One of our past Guild East presidents, the late John Merriman, was an integral part of the CBS News team that included Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite. He also taught at American University, and each year the Guild and his family present the Merriman Award for Broadcast Journalism, which comes with $1,000 to an AU grad student. This year's recipient is a fellow at the Nonprofit Investigative Center for Public Integrity, an experienced editor and reporter. Please join me in congratulating Liz Essley Whyte. Thank you all.
You may know him as the leader of the band Citizens Beach, but he's also the executive director of the WGAE East. Please give it up for Lowell Peterson.
I work for the union.
Uh-oh, I don't have a teleprompter, but we got some Writers Guild in the house tonight, right? Organizing, fighting union. And I'm not going to give you all the names of the people to thank, but I do want to shout out one name that's particularly dear to me, which is the most awesome trophy person around, which is Lexi Peterson. Yes, relation. The Writers Guild of America. The Writers Guild of America East devotes a lot of time to thinking about how to broaden and deepen the creative community of professional storytellers. And tonight we are pleased to welcome a new member, not into the Writers Guild, but into the creative community. The Michael Collyer Memorial Fellowship in Screenwriting is funded by the Charles and Lucille King Family Foundation. It's presented in partnership with our own Writers Guild Foundation, now known as the Writers Guild Initiative, which, by the way, is having a gala coming up on March 9th. It's a $10,000 stipend, and it is given to a college senior who plans to pursue a career in screenwriting, and it also comes with mentorship from a senior or experienced and well-regarded Writers Guild member. This year's mentor, we're pleased to say, is David Auburn. Megan Rico is a senior at the University of Miami studying screenwriting. She did spend last summer, even though she was born and raised in Miami, she was an intern on NBC's Late Night with Seth Meyers. And despite tonight's weather, she plans to move back to New York to pursue a career in comedy writing, which is a good thing. Her Collyer screenplay is Ned, which is that one about the teddy bear, right? No, it's inspired by the two things that Megan knows best, according to her, which is aliens and cannibalism, which is probably a good place to start for being a comedy writer. It follows a young girl who gets ensnared in a government conspiracy after finding a human arm in a public pool. All right, Megan Rico.
Spend it well. For all the presenters and award recipients. You know, I forgot to mention, I was actually on the board of directors of Writers Guild West, and I can't tell you how exciting and fun it is to be working on the East Coast, especially shooting a show in New York. So I'm very, very proud and happy about that. And it even allowed me to change my guild gang sign, because this was Writers Guild West, East Coast. The lady's looking at me like, what is he doing? You know, I love coming up with titles. It's one of my favorite things as a writer, you know, but sometimes I think titles try to be a little too clever. I think they should really just tell the truth and say what the movie or TV show is about, right? So in other words, if titles kept at 100, if they kept 100% real, okay, this is what they'd be. For instance, House of Cards. Okay, if they were keeping it 100, they'd just be called, Who's Kevin Spacey Talking to? That's what I want to know. It's been on for 2 seasons and I still don't know who he's talking to. He like kills a dog in the opening scene of the first one and he's telling somebody about it. I don't know who he's talking to. That would keep it 100 for me. Okay, next up, Gone Girl. Okay, if this was really keeping it 100, you know, it just would have been called, Is Ben Affleck really worth all this hassle? That was a lot. That's all I was thinking. Or an alternate keeping it 100 title, at least the one that was said in my barbershop, would be, That's a long way to go to make Tyler Perry look regular. That is an actual quote. Or Boyhood. Very simple, you know. I felt it should have just been called, Where was the masturbation? Right? That's all I was thinking about the whole time. 12 years of a boy's life told over 3 hours and not one tug scene. Come on, you guys. Seriously. As a matter of fact, the movie was so long, I almost started to tug it just out of protest. Which, by the way, is a perfectly good reason to masturbate. I just want to put that out there. You can masturbate out of protest. I masturbated through the whole Black Lives Matter protest, just so you know. Just doing my part. I was not quite in sync with the tone of the protest, but I believe I brought the same energy. Couldn't do the hands up thing for obvious reasons. Well, what am I supposed to do? Change my ways? I don't think so. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. You guys are sure this is not being televised, right? Just want to make sure. Okay, let's continue with the show. Now, the following are winners in categories who could not be with us tonight. So in the category of children's script, episodic and specials, the Writers Guild Award goes to Haunted Heartthrob, Haunted Hathaways, written by Bob Smiley, Nickelodeon. Good. And in the category of animation, the Writers Guild Award goes to Brick Like Me from The Simpsons, written by Brian Kelly for Fox. All right. Okay. In the category of quiz and audience participation, the Writers Guild Award goes to Hollywood Game Night, head writer Grant Taylor and writers Alex Chauvin and Ann Slichter, NBC. Give them all a nice round of applause, and the disembodied voice will give you your next thing.
You know our next presenter from her spiritual work in Jesus is Magic and We Are Miracles, and a secular show called the Sarah Silverman Program. Here's one of America's funniest women, Sarah Silverman.
What was I thinking? I gotta write a show, but how am I gonna do a show when I don't even have a show to write?
The first award I'm presenting is in the category TV documentary script other than current events. Wow. All right. Whoever named that is not going to win best, title for a award. Sorry, that wasn't very smooth. The nominees in the category of TV documentary script other than current events deal with the subjects from 1930s America to the formation of the Milky Way, which is only a current event to other galaxies, and nerds. And only then, just because the fabric of space-time is bent, sorry. If you haven't seen it, that's a spoiler. The nominees for documentary script other than current events are Episode 5, The Rising Road, The Roosevelts, An Intimate History, written by Jeffrey C. Ward for PBS. Great job, Jeff. League of Denial, The NFL's Concussion Crisis, very interesting, Frontline, written by Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser, PBS. They write so many things. Standing Up in the Milky Way, Episode 1, Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey, written by Ann Druyan and Steven Soder for Fox. And the award goes to, I know, I just do the one that says 1 on it, and that's how I know. Holy hell, Michael Kirk and Mike Weiser for League of Denial, the NFL's concussion crisis. That's interesting. It could stop the NFL.
You would think, being a writer, I would have prepared for the contingency of a second speech, but the deadline of the possibility, I did scribble together some notes before this. We want to thank Mark Fainaru-Wada and Steve Fainaru, who literally wrote the book on this subject, and who are collaborators on this, and again to PBS and Frontline, who were one of the few places that would stand up against somebody like the NFL and support a project like this. Since I'm up here again, I want to say something, expand on the WGA and what it means to me and to those of us who work in documentaries like this. Personally, my dad was a member of the Writers Guild. He started in documentaries and wrote situation comedies. Lured by Norman Lear, one of the awardees tonight. And my wife is now a member of the WGA. And you know, it's a true honor to win 2 awards tonight, but there are too few people who are able to do the type of work that we do, to take on important issues and to have the resources and time to be able to make it into a profession that we have been able to do, when we work at Frontline and on PBS and on WGA contracts. So I want to thank the Writers Guild for the important work that they do to support us, to support the important work that we do, and to support the work that we love. Thank you.
What charisma. Written episodic comedy has been with us since the early Greek playwrights came up with stuff like Everybody Loves an Anaximander, It's Always Sunny in Macedonia, that 570s BC show, which was actually written by Bonnie and Terry Turner. The nominees for episodic comedy are The Cold, Modern Family, written by Rick Weiner and Kenny Schwartz. I'm 10, sorry, ABC. Landline, New Girl, written by Rob Rosell for Fox. I just heard my voice, it's so nasal, I'm sorry. Low Self-Esteem City, Orange is the New Black, written by Nick Jones for Netflix. So Did the Fat Lady, Louie, written by Louis C.K., FX. Three Dinners, Modern Family, written by Abraham Higginbotham, Botham, and Jeffrey Richmond, ABC. The Wilderness, Transparent, written by Ethan Cooperberg for Amazon Prime, and the award goes to Louis C.K. Louis is not here. He's doing spots, so I'm accepting on his behalf. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, Michael Winship.
Talk to me. You can't see what's going on.
Every time I think I'm out, they keep pulling. I actually asked to introduce our next presenter of a special award because I wanted the opportunity to publicly thank him for our friendship and professional collaboration. Through an extraordinary career in journalism and public service, he has served democracy in such series as Creativity, The Language of Life, A World of Ideas, Sounds of Poetry, Fooling with Words, and many others. He has served to bring honor and dignity to writers everywhere, much as tonight's recipient of the Burkey Award has, which Bill is going to present. As Stephen Colbert said of him, he is everything I never aspire to be, calm, thoughtful, and informative. Among his many honors and awards, he has 3 Writers Guild Awards. I have 3 Writers Guild Awards too, and all of them are because of him. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Moyers.
You can't see what's going on. Yeah, what's
Thank you.
going on? Tell me what's going on.
Thank you. When Michael asked me to present the Guild's Lifetime Achievement to Norman Lear tonight, I said yes on the spot. Great, Michael replied, you've got 4 minutes. I was stunned. 4 minutes, Michael? William Shakespeare takes 2 hours and 35 minutes to tell us about Norman's great-grandfather. And you're giving me 4 minutes? Michael nodded and held up 4 fingers. I held up one in defiance. You know the one. Michael's seen it so often in his negotiations in your behalf, he never gets ruffled by it. And he didn't budge this time. But Michael, I went on, how in such a short time can I get what Mel Brooks meant when he recently told the journalist Neil Koch, outside of myself, Norman Lear is one of the most creative and talented writers in show business. I cannot expect the audience just to take that quote at face value, I said. I need to go on to tell them that Mel also said, I was very happy to be doing Get Smart with Buck Henry when Norman comes along and does those profound comedy shows with something to say about the nature of humanity. It's very nice when you can say something about the structure of society and still get plenty of laughs. And the first one to do that, Mel said, was Norman. So I asked Michael if this audience wouldn't want to hear this. After all, Norman revolutionized television. Surely, Michael, I have to explain how. Michael just kept polishing his fingernails. Without even looking up, he said some other time. He refused to relent, even when I said I needed at least a minute to call attention to the petition I'm circulating tonight to get Charlie Chaplin and Norman Lear up on Mount Rushmore before Ronald Reagan. Because the two of them turned comedy into prophecy and gave millions of people a cold water bath of truth. Jon Stewart will have to await his turn. Chaplin, with his poignant little tramp, ridiculing the totalitarian mind and the avarice of modern life, and Norman with the plain speak of ordinary people, peeling away the absurdities and hypocrisies that enfeeble America's promise. And Michael said, next time. I threw myself at his knees. Can I tell them how my wife Judith and I learned Norman's secret? How we went out to Hollywood in 1980 to do an episode with Norman, Carol O'Connor, and the others for our PBS series on creativity. And that's when we discovered that the source of his extraordinary vision comes from how he cuts an apple like no one else. You and I, most of us, we slice it down the stem, under, back up, and returning to the stem. Not Norman. He cuts the apple around its circumference, like a satellite circling the earth. And when it's pulled apart, seriously, lo and behold, hiding inside the apple is a star. Norman, you see, finds something marvelous in what the rest of us see as mundane. Just imagine how the story of our species would be different if when Adam sliced the Eve, handed him from Eve, the apple, he saw not original sin snaking along at its core, but a star, and all the wonder inspired by that sight. Yeah, well, said Michael, save it. We're talking 4 minutes, period. But don't I get to talk about Citizen Lear, I begged, the Tom Paine of our time. Don't you want them to know how the boy Norman heard Father Coughlin spewing forth anti-Semitism from the radio? How he watched the keynote speaker at the first Moral Majority Convention in 1980, of which I made a documentary, The keynote speaker, a powerful fundamentalist Baptist preacher, proclaimed that God does not hear the prayer of a Jew, and how Ronald Reagan, sitting on the same stage at the very same time, said to the same gathering, "You can't endorse me, but I can endorse you." "It's important to know, Michael," I said, "how appalled Norman was as the religious right remade the grand old party, once led by Abraham Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt, the presidents of his childhood, how the grand old party was becoming God's own party, turning politics into a holy war in which the goal is not merely to defeat your opponents at the poll, but to treat them as infidels to be destroyed. Don't these writers in particular," I asked Michael, "especially want to know that when the religious right declared most American school books were nothing more than propaganda from the Soviet Union, and then went after Slaughterhouse-Five, The Diary of Anne Frank, and Catcher in the Rye, Norman recoiled and founded People for the American Way to fight back for freedom of expression and thought." Ever since I met him, and it was soon after we were in Hollywood and he was founding People For, and he knew of my concern about the religious right, and he came to see us in New York. Ever since I've known Norman, he has agreed with William Penn that to be furious in religion is to be irreligiously religious. No patriot I know has done more to uphold our Constitution as a guarantor of both freedom of religion and freedom from religion. At this point, Michael handed me his stopwatch, prefixed to emit a piercing and permanent sound exactly at 4 minutes. I have about 3 seconds. So I gave up. "All right, Michael, what do you want me to do?" I asked him, "What do you want me to do?" He answered, "Tweet. Tweet." "Okay, that's what I'll do," inspired by remembrance of the Time magazine reporter who was sent to interview Cary Grant. As he was writing against deadline back in New York, he suddenly discovered he had failed to ask the actor his age. So off went a frantic telegram, "Please reply how old Cary Grant?" And back came the film star's immediate reply, "Oh, Cary Grant, fine. How are you?" So here's my tweet. "Old Norman Lear, fine. And we should all be so lucky. Not only did Norman survive constant flurries of flak from below and Messerschmitts swarming like wasps around his B-17 on bombing raids over Germany, he came home to thrive in hand-to-hand, rapier-to-wit combat in Hollywood, the only place on earth, as Steve Martin once said, where you can be fired by a man wearing a Hawaiian shirt and a baseball cap." Yet, here he is tonight, in his 9th decade, with his soulmate Lynn beside him, and other members of his family, pausing from an arduous book tour now in its 87th consecutive month, pausing to be with us tonight, while also trying to decide by Monday which of the 3 recent offers he will accept to produce a brand new series for this generation of binge viewers. And I'm not making that up. Let's look at what led him to this moment. Norman, you and I have tramped the yellow woods of Robert Frost together. We've celebrated the 4th of July in foreign countries. We've sat on the deck of a barge in the Seine and watched the night lights of Paris come on like a celestial visitation. We've stood on the plains from which the First Crusade departed and talked about how men do terrible things in the name of God. We've sat at table with old friends far into the wine of morning and shared indescribable camaraderie. We've laughed together and wept together. You even let me cry on your shoulder when I heard the news of the death of an old and unforgettable friend from a long time ago. Time and again, when I have doubted that the Christian ethic still survives, I've looked to you to be reminded. But never have I felt closer to you or loved you more than when, in the presence of all of your fellow and sister writers, I'm able to present you, on behalf of the Writers Guild of America East, the Evelyn F. Burkey Award for contributions that have brought honor and dignity to writers everywhere to Norman Lear.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you all so much. I couldn't appreciate more the warmth of this reception, but it's important that I point out that I'd have had a warm reception like this 4 or 5 years ago at 87, 88, 89. But once you cross 90, there's a big change that takes place. And it's not in you, it's in you. What happened? I mean, I'm the same guy. But I passed 90. I had some notes. But I am so touched by what Bill had. I'm really a hell of a guy. See? I have not known over all the years anyone in journalism more honest, with more depth, more sincerity, more courage, more of everything that's good for my kids and grandkids than Bill and Judith Moyers. So. That they are not on television at the moment. I pray that they'll be back. But, you know, it's customary, and everybody up here has thanked a lot of people. If I were to start to thank the people I need to thank, we'd be sitting here over the weekend, because nobody enjoyed a greater, larger, longer collaboration than I, with dozens of brilliant writers and scores of great directors and of course actors. You know, I will take 100% of the credit for casting Rob Reiner, Sally Struthers, Gene Stapleton, and Carol O'Connor. I saw them. But I can't take a percentage of the credit for the chemistry that grew up between them in every single direction. Nobody could see that. By the way, there was a Marion Doherty who introduced me to these actors also. But talk about the giant nature of this collaboration. But the chemistry that developed between each of those players, and as I said, in every direction. Title of the book that Bill referred to is Even This I Get to Experience. And that glorious introduction, that friendship for all these years, that response from all of you all of these glorious faces in this room. Even that I got to experience. And even this moment of saying that, I get to experience. You know, you all came a long way. However old you are, each of you, every day of your life has been spent coming to this moment for me. And I have 92 years on record, spending every moment of my life to get to be here for you. So, I thank you, Bill. I thank my beloved wife and daughters who are here, and my sons-in-law, and I bless you all. Thank you all very much.
This groundbreaking comedian and activist co-created The Daily Show, co-founded Air America, co-founded Lady Parts Justice, and wrote Liz Free or Die. Please welcome the hardest working woman in satire business, Liz Winstead.
Thanks. I dress like Maude for Norm. Feeling good about it. As the former program director for Air America, the radio network that helped launch a U.S. senator, an MSNBC icon, and a comedian who popularized the term WTF, I know that radio news is tasked with maintaining the longest-running high standards of any broadcast medium, plus gives millions something to listen to while they text and drive. The nominees for Radio News Script regularly scheduled bulletin or breaking report are the 6 a.m. news written by Philip Pilato, 1010 Wins Radio. None of you have ever heard that. The 8 p.m. hour written by Robert Howley, WCBS AM. New York City loses a radio news legend, written by Bill Spadaro, CBS Radio, 1010 Wins. World News This Week, written by Andrew Evans, ABC News Radio. And the award goes to Andrew Evans, World News This Week, ABC News Radio.
Thank you. It was a bit of a hike downstairs, but thank you so much. First, I have to thank my beautiful wife, Danielle, for being here. It was a great Valentine's present tonight. Thank you for making me come to this. That's great. And our two lovely daughters who are at home sleeping, just waiting for us to arrive back home before they wake up and give us a good night. Also, my colleagues at ABC, thank you so much. My former colleagues at CBS, Robert Hawley especially, thanks for being here. Thanks. And just to the Writers Guild, thank you so much for doing the hard stuff to allow us to do the creative stuff that we do so well. Thank you so much.
In the radio documentary category, a piece on the JFK assassination is the sole nominee. As much as you've heard the conspiracy theories, I'd like to assure you that our best evidence at this time says there was not a second nominee. 3 shots rang out, the JFK assassination 50 years later, written by Darren Reynolds, ABC News Radio. And the award goes to, hey, let me say the name, music. Darren Reynolds, 3 shots rang out. The JFK assassination 50 years later, cue the music. There it is.
Chances grow thinner, for there's no hiding place.
I was coming down here, I thought, man, that would have sucked if I'd have lost.
Holy cow, up there. Hey, I want to thank Diane Sawyer. She put her awesome talents to the voice behind the words, so thank you. I know she's not here tonight, but thank you, Diane. I want to thank ABC and the Guild. I want to say Happy Valentine's Day to my wife, Jenny, upstairs. She was the mom and dad for a few weeks while I was writing this, so I thank you for that. And I want to thank the people, especially the men, because it was all men back in 1963. It was a long weekend in 1963 at that pivotal moment in America where they described with such vivid imagery and did just the perfect blend of urgency and compassion. And for that, this program was possible. So thank you.
The historic sweeping campaigns of determined peoples to achieve lasting justice are tonight's subject of inspiring nominees for radio news, script, analysis, feature, or commentary. The nominees are Civil Rights at 50, written by Jane Tillman Irving, WCBS Radio. Remembering Nelson Mandela, written by Gail Lee, CBS Radio News. And the winner goes to Jane Tillman Irving, Civil Rights at 50, WCBS Radio.
You just thank the Lord.
Oh my goodness, thank you so very much. My, what a Valentine indeed. Civil Rights at 50 is my story because I would not be here, as you well know, if it were not for those brave men and women who challenged the system. And for those of you who are women and are gay or have otherwise been disenfranchised, you know you would not have been here either if it were not for those people 50 years ago. They opened the door for all of us and told another way of telling America's story. I also want to thank my husband, George Flowers, who is here, and everybody at WCBS Radio, including my colleague, Rob Hawley, and Scott Herman and Tim Sheld, and Jonathan Clark, our executives, and Wayne Cabot, who brought my words to life. Thank you all. WGA members, word people, thank you.
Very much. Many times when you do these things, you know, we work in the business, we don't always get the chance to say thanks. I just want to say thank you, Norman. No All in the Family. If there's no good times, there's no me up here. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, too. I mean that. That show, I just love this man, sorry. All right, I want to give a shout out. Oh, that would be a good transition to bananagrams, I guess. Oh, very nice. That's all you needed from me tonight was to mention bananagrams. That's amazing. So shout out to one of our sponsors, Bananagrams. Now, remember Bananagrams? It is the anagram game that drives you bananas, okay? All right. Now, if you're going to make an anagram out of Writers Guild of America East, okay, it would be forget crime, await residuals. It's pretty good. That is an actual anagram. That is currently driving me bananas, right? Always good advice. Now, another one would be tweets are a frigid social rum. Not quite sure what that one means, but it doesn't make any difference. As long as it drives you bananas, that's the only thing that matters, okay? So pick up your bananagrams wherever bananagrams are sold. Yes, one hand for bananagrams, good. Thank you, bananagrams. All right. The following are winners in categories who could not be with us tonight. So in the category of on-air promotion, television, new media, or radio, the Writers Guild Award goes to How I Met Your Mother, written by Dan Greenberger at CBS. Good job, Dan. Very good. And in the category of long form original, the Writers Guild Award goes to Deliverance Creek, written by Melissa Carter of Lifetime Networks. Good hand for Melissa. Thank you very much. Once again, the voice from the sky.
You've seen this two-time Emmy and Tony Award winner on Transparent, Ugly Betty, and Law & Order SVU. But she was and remains the boss. Please welcome Judith Light.
There's a light, what a light. There's a light, what a light.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really an honor to be here with all of you tonight, I have to say, and to breathe the same air as Norman Lear and Bill Moyers is such an honor. And tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to honor those who brought us such entertaining examples of revenge, scandal, manipulation, aggression, adultery, nihilism, and excessive alcoholism, and that was just at the cocktail party earlier. The nominees for drama series are Game of Thrones, written by David Benioff, Brian Cogman, George R.R. Martin, D.B. Weiss for HBO. The Good Wife, written by Leonard Dick, Keith Eisner, Matthew Hodgsons, Ted Humphrey, Michelle King, Robert King, Erica Shelton Kodish, Matthew Montoya, Luke Skelhaus, Nichelle Tremble-Spellman, Craig Turk, Julia Wolf for CBS. House of Cards, written by Bill Kane, Laura Asen, Sam R. Foreman, William Kennedy, Kenneth Lynn, John Mankiewicz, David Manson, Bo Williman for Netflix. And Mad Men, written by Lisa Albert, Heather Jangblatt, Semi Chellis, Jonathan Igla, David Iserson, Janet Leahy, Erin Levy, Patricia Resnick, Tom Smuts, Matthew Weiner, Carly Ray for AMC, and True Detective, written by Nick Pizzolatto for HBO. And the award goes to Nick Pizzolatto for True Detective. Nick is still in Los Angeles, and so we'll accept the award on his behalf. Congratulations to you, Nick. And in the face of new challenges, daytime drama has continued to thrive, giving viewers the same high quality and invention and imagination they've depended on for over 50 years. The nominees for daytime drama are Days of Our Lives, written by Lorraine Broderick, David Sherrill, Carolyn Culeton, Richard Culeton, Rick Drawn, Christopher Dunn, Janet Iacobuzio, Ryan Kwan, Dave Ryan, Melissa Salmons, Christopher Weitzel for NBC. And General Hospital, written by Ron Carlivati, Anna Teresa Casio, Suzanne Flynn, Kate Hall, Elizabeth Corti, Daniel James O'Connor, Elizabeth Page, Catherine Schock, Scott Sickles, Chris Van Etten for ABC. And the award goes to the writers of General Hospital.
If these don't get us laid on Valentine's Day, I don't know what else will. On behalf of our boss, who is in Los Angeles accepting, I'd like to thank for our team here, our incredibly hardworking and talented team who turn out 260 episodes a year. I'd like to say thank you to Vicki Dummer and Nathan Varney at ABC, our executive producer, Frank Valentini, and our head writer, Ron Carlivati. And thank you to the Guild for
continuing to support a genre of television that is old enough to be my father. So thank you. Okay.
When he was 30-something, he co-created 30-something. Since then, he's written, created, directed, or produced more than 30-something groundbreaking films and television shows. Here to present the Ian McLellan Hunter Award for Career Achievement in Writing is Edward Zwick.
Throw your diamonds in the sky if you feel the vibe. The rock is still alive every time I rhyme.
Paul Haggis and I first became friends when I fired him in 1986. That's not entirely accurate. We were working on a television show, and at the end of the season, middle of the season, he came to me and he told me that he didn't feel that his work was up to the level that he would expect of someone in his position, and that he believed his salary would be better spent on someone else. I should add parenthetically that he turned out he won an Emmy for writing he'd done on that show already, but I'd like to think that I tried to talk him out of leaving. But the truth is that only then did I begin to really know Paul and to learn that he was only at the very beginning of his journey as a writer, and he knew, as few of us do know about ourselves, that he needed to grow on his own and to find his own voice. And that the only way to do that was to do it alone in the 3 a.m. inventory of the soul we writers know all too well. So that's what he did. First by creating television shows of his own, and then by sitting down and digging in and digging deep and writing original screenplays. Stories animated by his personal concerns, by his politics, by his anger, his compassion, and a deeply humanist understanding of how our lives and our fates are inextricably intertwined. Whether describing a father's search for the truth of his son's death in the Valley of Ella, a boxer's refusal to accept her limitations in $1 Million Baby, the commonality of warring enemies in Flags of Our Fathers, the contradictions of race and political correctness in Crash, or the unexpected verities of love in Third Person, Paul's work has been defined by an unflinching commitment to complexity and authenticity. Nor has this commitment been limited to his work on screen. Too few of us actually walk it like we talk it. And for 30 years, Paul has been a leader in our community on issues of human rights and social justice. He has tirelessly given his time and his money. He has opened his home, written editorials, harangued his friends, and constantly put his reputation on the line in the service of those beliefs. And he has also put it all on the line confronting his own life, bravely and publicly, in what I have to imagine was a much more soul-searching experience than the writing of any screenplay. I think we all aspire to have a career with as diverse and powerful a body of work as Paul. Let's watch some of it now. For this work, and not to mention the Oscars, Emmys, BAFTAs, WGAE Awards, James Bond movies, blah, 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 I am honored to present the Ian McLellan Hunter Award for Career Achievement to my friend Paul Haggis.
I've been talking to grease monkeys.
Thank you. I fucking love awards. I love them because I put them quite close to where I like to write. And then every so often when things aren't going well, I go and look at them and go, oh, look, in 1986 I was good. And if that wasn't so true, it would be funny. Yeah, we keep looking back. Thank you for this. It's a little surreal looking at that stuff. Thank you, Ed, yes, for firing me, but also for everything you taught me. Ed and Marshall actually taught me how to write. They just didn't quite understand they were doing it at the time. Up until that point, I'd made a very good living as a bad writer. And I remember they brought me in on that episode and said, really, really clever, Paul. What's it about? I went, what do you mean? They said, well, it's about this clever plot turn. It's about this device. It's about this cool thing here. And they go, yeah. No, it's really cool. It's really clever. But where does it come from within you? What does it talk about that you want to talk about? This, digging in at you. And I went, fuck, it's supposed to do that? I had no idea what writing was. And I was in my mid-30s by then. Which is why the first person I need to apologize to is Norman Lear. Who, first of all, I mean, come on. None of us, especially me, should be on the same stage with Norman Lear. I remember being in my 20s, and it was the first time that anyone hired me as a staff writer, and I was just so thrilled and happy. I mean, yes, I was a little jealous of the writers of All in the Family and Maude and Mary Hartman, but none of them got to write, or at least type, What You Talking About, Willis, every week. And so I have you to thank for that, Norman. But yeah, no, but he just, the man, I mean, I have a whole speech here about Norman Lear. What he did for us, how he took all of our, I mean, no one had done it. You said it so well. No one had done what Norman did, was take the society and make it, with all its warts, entertaining and funny, and he'd condemn us and forgive us. It was startling, and thank you, Norman, for doing that. Because of really great writers like Norman, like Ed, like Marshall, I learned not only how to write, but why we should write. And I think that's most important, and I'm forever grateful to you, well, the two of my great guys are here in the room for doing that. And now, that said, there's a few people here who I'm really grateful to and who have helped me along the way. And so I want to, if you don't mind, just take a second to point them out. There's Risa Gertner and Brian Ken from CA who aren't here, but who always, are just endlessly amused by my passion projects and support them. And like, oh, 5 years, you're going to go off and write and direct something and make nothing? That's great. Let's go do that. And they love me, and they're still there. It's great. Larry Bexey, who is my manager, who was my agent and is now my manager and is my second mother, and now that my mother's passed away, is my first mother. Thank you, Larry. Deb, my ex-wife and my best critic, go figure. But honest to God, she's also my best reader, and every writer needs one. Thank you, Deborah. My friend Greg, who's been my friend since I was 20 years old and has continued to believe in me and work with me, and it happens to be the brother of my first wife. It's a very strange table over here, I have to tell you this. And life, if you've seen my films. And then my children, two of whom are here, Alyssa, Lauren, Katie, and James, who are my constant inspiration. I'm sorry. Honestly, one of my deep regrets, one of the things we all do is we give up so much of our lives when we're writers to write, to create. And other people often pay the price for what we do, our success, and the time we put in. My children paid that because I was just never there. I was writing so often and so much. And so thank you for putting up with me on that, and for sticking with me all these years. And I want to thank the Guild. I mean, for always fighting for us. One of my proudest days professionally, I don't know how old I was, I must have been 26 years old or something, was when I got my membership card for the Writers Guild of America. And it still is one of my proudest days. I am so grateful for this and thankful for your support. Thank you very much.
He's a comedy legend and the only performer whose credits include both The Ed Sullivan Show and Sharknado 2. He's also quite possibly the man who invented Restless Leg Syndrome, or at least patented it. Please welcome Robert Klein.
Oh, they're playing my song. Oh, yeah, they're playing my song. And then they're playing my song.
First of all honors to King Lear and your daughters. Behave yourselves. I have to comment on all the action in Queens and Brooklyn, the new Hollywood. It's so wonderful to go to work across the river or on the island of Manhattan. Look, I'm not sure whether to cut Brian Williams slack, but I know what danger is. I work for the USO, and believe me, it was pretty apprehensive flying into Orlando. We were taking fire from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And one of those cannonballs hits your wing, you're dead, baby. So, except for a table or two, I may be the only ARP member in the room. The business is somewhat youth-oriented. I mostly joined ARP for the early bird special. With an ARP card, I can get the best steak in Fort Lauderdale for $7.99 if I'm willing to eat it at 8:30 in the morning. And they want you out before 10:30 when the full pup people come. People were commenting, and my hair is a little long, it's true. I'm growing it for a movie. It's about a guy that needs a haircut. And it's deeper than that. They wanted to hire a woman, but it worked better for a man. I apologize for that. And I'd like to say, Frank, comedy is hard, but dying is hard too. I'd say dying is harder than comedy. I mean, dying is a bitch. And comedy, you do it, you go home, I don't agree with that at all. And what is this bullshit? Dying is easy. It's not easy. I've seen it many times on the battlefield that day in Orlando, for example. It was a station for the wounded in Pleasure Island at the Disney property. All right. There are a lot of nominees in this very important category, and if I learned something tonight, it's how important it is to the individuals, these kids who write this wonderful stuff. So the nominees for comedy, variety, including talk are, and there are so many of them, that I thought it would be easier to mention the names of all the people that were not nominated, and you'll deduce who was nominated. All right, The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Rory Albanese, Dan Amira, Steve Bodo, Tim Carvel, Trayvon Free, Hallie Hagland. These names made up or they were actually named. J.R. Havlin, Elliot Callan, I hope it's your name, or Kalin. Kalin, sorry, they didn't phoneticize that one for me. Smith, they phoneticized somehow. Matt Koff, Adam Lowett, Dan McCoy, Joe Miller, John Oliver, Zubin Parang, Owen Parsons, Daniel Radosh, Lauren Sarver, Jon Stewart, and Delaney Yeager, Comedy Central. Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Writers, Kevin Avery, Tim Carvel. That the guy with the ice cream? Dan Gurwitch, Jeff Haggerty, Jeff Moore, John Oliver, Scott Sherman, Will Tracy, Jill Twiss, Julie Weiner, HBO. Inside Amy Schumer. Head writer, Jesse Klein. Writers, Emily Altman, Jeremy Byler.
Rhymes with Tyler, it says here. Neil Casey, Kyle Dunnigan, Kurt Metzger, Christine Nagel, Dan Powell, Amy Schumer, Comedy Central. The Colbert Report. I should be looking in these. Are they bulletproof? I was afraid to look up because of the violence in the world. The Colbert Report. Writers: Michael Brum, Nate Charney, Aaron Cohen, Stephen Colbert, Rich Dahm, Paul Dinello, Eric Drysdale, Rob Dubbin, Ariel Dumas, Glenn Eichler, Gabe Cronley, Barry Julian, Jay Katzier, Sam Kim, Matt Lippin, Opus Moreski, wow, Tom Purcell, Meredith Scardino, Max Werner, Comedy Central. I'll be taking a break before the next category. Jimmy Kimmel Live. Probably you're all on the West Coast, huh? Well, head writers, Molly McNearney, Danny Ricker, Gary Greenberg. Writers, Jack Allison, Tony Barbieri, Jonathan Bynes, Yoel Bukai, or Joel, with Long Eye Sound. What the hell are they putting in? Josh Holloway, Sal Icono, Eric Immerman, Bess Kalb, Jimmy Kimmel, Jeff Loveness, Brian Pauck, Rick Rosner, Bridger Weiniger, ABC. Saturday Night Live. I was the customer in the first cheeseburger sketch, you know. I hosted the 5th show, first year, 1975. The most nervous groups of son of the bitches you ever saw in your life. Gray screen on NBC for 40 seconds. Saturday Night Live, head writers, Seth Meyers, Colin Yost, Rob Klein, not I, Brian Tucker. Writers, James Anderson, Alex Bays, Michael Che, Mikey Day, Steve Higgins, Leslie Jones, Zach Kanan, Chris Kelly, Eric Kenward, Lauren Michaels, Clear Mullaney, Josh Patton, Paul Appel, Katie Rich, Tim Robinson, Sarah Schneider, Pete Schultz, John Solomon, Kent Sublett, LaKendra Tukes, NBC. Real Time with Bill Maher. Head writer, Billy Martin. Writers, Scott Carter, Adam Felber, Matt Gunn, Brian Jacobsmeyer, Jay Yarrow, Chris Kelly, Bill Maher, Danny Vermont, HBO. And the winner, not Klein, I can tell you. The writers of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Thank you very much. This is an honor and a surprise. Thank you to the Guild. Thank you to HBO. We would not be able to do our show and not embarrass ourselves or get sued if it were not for our research team, our footage producers, producer Liz Stanton, who solves seemingly every problem before it even comes up. And we have to acknowledge two writers who are not here tonight. One is Tim Carvel, who is our incredibly talented and generous showrunner. And the other is this guy, John Oliver, who I think even when we were nervous before the first episode about how our jokes that we'd written would go over, I think we all knew, like, well, worst comes to worst, John will be great. And John was great, and John has been great every week since. And it's an honor to work with him, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next presenters star together in The Knick. Please welcome Clive, Owen, and Andre Holland.
Tonight's documentary screenplay nominees cover a wide range of fascinating stories.
Everything from hockey players in the Soviet Union, a Chicago nanny with a secret passion for photography, a turning point in the Vietnam War, and the tragically short life of an internet prodigy.
The nominees for documentary screenplay are Finding Vivian Maier, written by John Maloof and Charlie Siskel, Sundance Selects. The Internet's Own Boy, the story of Aaron Swartz, written by Brian Knappenberger, film buff. Last Days in Vietnam, written by Mark Bailey and Kevin McAllister, American Experience Films. And Red Army, written by Gabe Polsky, Sony Pictures Classics.
And the award goes to Brian Knappenberger, The Internet's Own Boy, the story of Aaron Swartz. Brian was unable to be here tonight, but congratulations, Brian.
The final award of the evening is for original screenplay.
Yes, yes. Now, each of tonight's nominees offers a powerful, unique take on its subject, as well as an unprecedented manner of storytelling that will not only resonate with viewers for generations, but also change the way we think about screenwriting itself.
The nominees for original screenplay are Boyhood, written by Richard Linklater, IFC Films. Foxcatcher, written by E. Max Fry and Dan Futterman, for Sony Pictures Classics. The Grand Budapest Hotel, screenplay by Wes Anderson, story by Wes Anderson and Hugo Guinness, Fox Searchlight. Nightcrawler, written by Dan Gilroy, Open Road Films. And Whiplash, written by Damien Chazelle, the Sony Picture Classics.
And the award goes to Wes Anderson, Hugo Guinness, Grand Budapest Hotel.
Thank you all very much. This is a great honor. And I'm sorry Wes can't be with me here, but he's simultaneously, bi-coastally doing the same thing at this very moment. I would like to thank, who would I like to thank? Oh, everybody. And happy Valentine's Day. And thanks to the WGA. Bye.
Well, you guys made it to the halfway point. That's always the joke. It's always the joke, and it works. One last thing, we forgot about 3 variety show nominees, so Robert Klein's going to come back out and... Yeah, no, you guys are free. Thanks. I want to say thanks to our announcer, Nancy Giles, the voice in the sky there. And I want to mention, to join us for the WGA Awards after party immediately following the show at the Attic. That's 1 block away at 251 West 48th Street. Okay, everybody again? ATTIC, the Attic. Thanks a lot. You guys have been a great crowd. Congratulations to all the winners tonight. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.